Imagine this society where those who are most relevant kind of warn you about this immense success. But really, what it was a cry for help that was kind of masked behind these beautiful melodies. When I think of those who are relevant in the culture, we have people like XXX Juice World, Amy Winehouse, and Mac Miller. That is why in today's episode, I will be talking about Mac Miller's album, Good AM. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Thank You for Sharing. In today's episode, we're going to talk about Mac Miller. Now, much like everybody in this generation, I'm a huge fan of Mac Miller. If you do not know who Mac Miller is, do your research. But today, I will be talking about Mac Miller's album, Good AM. Now, I'll be talking about this album, and within this album today, I'll be talking about some of the themes that I see in some of my favorite songs and how they relate to me and possibly how they can relate to you. Now, I know like Mac Miller has so many projects, so it's kind of like, why would I hone in on Good AM? And to be honest with you, man, it just songs kind of been coming up from the album. He has a song on there called Break the Law, and I just kind of been really jamming out to it, and it just kind of made me wanted to do a deeper dive into the album. And so lo and behold, here I am after my deep dive into Mac Miller's album, and I'm going to be talking about a lot of things that I resonated with. And I'm going to be going by song, talking about the different themes that I see in the songs and how they relate to me. So, man, Mac Miller, first of all, I would like to say, has a tremendous catalog of music that is just, I mean, you have The Divine Feminine, you have Faces, you have watching movies with the sound off. Like, I'm a pretty big Mac Miller fan when it comes to like the music that he makes. I think he makes quality music. But what made me hone in on this specific album was simply because it's just what I was listening to at the moment. But then as I done my research on this album, this is the first album by Mac Miller that is produced by like a record label. Every album that he had before then was kind of like self-produced. So this was his first time kind of producing an album with like a major record label. And as I was going throughout this album, a lot of things kind of resonated with me, man. He talked about a lot of things that I think went under the radar because some of these songs are so beautiful, you can't help but to zone out into the melody. But a lot of the subject matter on some of the songs are really deep, and I think we need to kind of dive into them instead of just kind of gloss over them because the melody is so fire. Let's start with the song In the Bag. So In the Bag is a song kind of about Mac Miller talking about growing up and kind of idolizing what he's seeing on TV. And for me, dog, that is something that really resonates with me. You know, I grew up like glued to the TV. I don't know how everybody's family was, but kind of like in my family, when you got home, everybody kind of did their own thing. So, I mean, the TV raised me in a way. It's kind of morphed me into the person I am today. It's kind of like why I like acting and just kind of like doing things like this is because I spent a lot of time with the TV. And as a result of that, there was a lot of things I would watch on TV like MTV Cribs, certain shows, and I would kind of like vicariously kind of live through these shows, and it just kind of like painted my future, especially like Cribs. Like to this day, I swear I have an obsession with not only LA, but like early 2000s LA. Like I swear that was kind of the place to be. Just like looking on TV and looking at Cribs and kind of seeing movies from that. So I can understand Mac talking about how growing up he would see people on TV that had like these fantastic lives and they had this money, bro. And I just feel like what kid who, you know, lifestyle at home may not be what they want. Like, you know, all of us had hardships. Well, not all of us, but, you know, I had certain hardships growing up. I couldn't have everything that I wanted. Probably good I didn't have anything that I wanted, but there are some things that I kind of got deprived of that I kind of like saw on TV and was like, dang, bro, I wish I could kind of like live life like that. I wish I could have a house like that. And so kind of like in my adulthood, it low key does form how my goals are now in terms of like wanting nice things. Now I know as an adult the reason why I want nice things, which is not a problem. You just got to know the reason. You just can't want them just to flex on people. That's kind of like an additive, like cherry on top. But on this song specifically, he kind of paints a picture of growing up and kind of like if we can imagine this album or we can imagine Mac being a character, this would to me be like the kind of beginning of this character. We would see somebody who is being like raised on TV or pop culture who is telling him like this is what you want and this is what you need to achieve. And this song is like it's kind of like really good, and it's followed by the song "Break the Law." Now, "Break the Law" was the song that I personally had been personally been listening to. I'd been liking this part specifically. In the beginning of the song, he kind of was like, he's like, you know, I wake up and my head's banging like Metallica. And what kind of lured me to this song is kind of like the flow of the song, bro. Like, bro's flow on this song is crazy. But at the same time, you kind of notice him kind of like being boastful. So it's like in the last song, if this character had grown up and kind of realized that, hey, like this is a life that I want that I've seen on TV of people like, you know, having women, having cars, and the nice clothes and everything. Break the Law is kind of like a combination of that. Like, okay, now I kind of got the stuff. Let me talk my stuff. Let me pop my stuff. You feel me? And so I think everybody can relate to that. I think everyone can, including myself. There's definitely times in my life where I seen myself kind of get to a certain level that I wanted to, at least it may be at the floor level, but it's a level nonetheless, a level that I've reached. And so kind of like when you get to a certain level in your life or when you've accomplished some things that you want to accomplish, you kind of get a little swag about yourself. You kind of walk around like you get a little swag, if you feel what I mean. And it's a little bit of a foreshadowing because we all know that, you know, to boast about certain things or to be kind of arrogant about certain things, then life kind of has a way of humbling you. So if you don't humble yourself, life is going to humble you. So this next song, Perfect Circle / Godspeed. So I'm going to focus just on the perfect circle, which is the first part of the song. You kind of enter into like kind of like a somber, you hear like a choir. And in this song, everything gets a little much more darker. So in Break the Law, where we're talking about, you know, like having fun, you know, Mac is drinking, you know, kind of experimenting with drugs, but at the same time, you know, it sounds fun. Whereas on this song, Perfect Circle, things get a little darker. And we really see the extent of the drug abuse that this character or even Mac himself is going through. And there's the lyric that really pops out on this song to me is he has like a woman quoting, "Money has changed you." And he's like, "Shawty, get back to minding your business." So it's kind of like he writes her off. So it's kind of like, hey, money could have changed him. I think why this part really stands out to me is because I think now that I'm at an age of wanting to have certain things, now I'm kind of understanding like, okay, do I know what I'm asking for? Do you know what you're asking for? Like really ask yourself, like the goals that you have, like the certain thing, like why do you want it? What could be the negative effects of you actually achieving this goal? If we had goals as a kid, now most goals that we do make as a kid are kind of harmless. If not, they've changed by the time that we are into adulthood. But kind of hearing or kind of seeing experiences of what other people is going through as they reach their certain levels of success, you know, kind of have you like, dang, bro, what would happen to me if I reached this level of success? Do I want to achieve this level of success? It's kind of like redefining your success. If anything, to me, like I look at artists like Mac Miller or any of the artists that I see in my actual life, and you know, we all know, or if you don't know, the tragic ending of Mac Miller's life, you know, he overdosed. So it's like we may not know people's personal lives and what they have going on, like these celebrities or these people that we hold and revere, but it's like we're chasing the same things that they chased. that got them into a scenario that kind of, put them, and I'm not saying that Mac's overdose was his fault, but I'm also saying that we can hear in his music that he wasn't in this great space, that he wasn't in this place where he was the most healthy mentally. So really ask yourself, like, what are these goals? Like, bro, I swear, as I get older and I'm really like defining what success means to me, I'm really kind of but then, to be honest, there's some things that you really have to experience to really be like, all right, bro, this is not for me. I'm not saying go out here, do crack. Although crackheads look like they're having the time of their life, don't go out here and do crack or do hard drugs. But there are certain things like having to get a certain amount of success or getting money to kind of understand that, hey, this not be for me. And I think that everyone should reach that success, because I think there's one thing to reach that success and be like, hey, this is not for me, than to scare yourself off and be like, bro, I'm never gonna do that because this is gonna change me. Like, you don't know that. You don't know what your levels of success would be. So like me personally, I'm not finna count myself out. I'm gonna be a little bit more weary that, yo, if I achieve this, it may not make me as happy or it may not give me that feeling I was looking for, but that's not gonna stop me from wanting to achieve it. That's just me being determined, but that's also me just kind of having to navigate things through life as me. And also in this song, Perfect Circle, he mentions a lot of thoughts of like, I wonder if people would remember me if I never woke up. This is probably when we didn't know the extent of what he was really going through. But the song Fire, we just gonna kind of rock out. We're just gonna kind of vibe out to it. But I really want to think about, especially in this first half of the song, Perfect Circle, why do we as people kind of gravitate towards dark things? And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, I genuinely find myself like, why do we, like, I always find myself, whether it's Mac Miller's music, whether it's like The Weeknd, like there's something kind of alluring to stuff that has a dark subject matter. And what I mean by that is like stories of people kind of talking about being in these dark places sometimes are really interesting. And we kind of gravitate towards artists who really kind of been in these dark places. And it just kind of intrigues us. I don't know, me personally, I think there's definitely something that I could relate with these characters. I feel like we need characters like this to really address some of the darker things that we have in our life. Because let's be honest, bro, you can't live everyday pure happiness. Like pure happiness every day that's not a real life. Like it's impossible. So there's times that we have to go through dark things. I'm saying that to say that it's okay to go through dark things, but you don't want to dwell in those moments. I think we like music like this because there's times where we dwell in that moment for a little bit, but we can't completely live in that. But there's artists, man. These artists, sometimes that is their full-time lifestyle. They spend so much time on their art trying to feed us as consumers, as the masses, that, they can neglect parts of themselves or really don't manage success and fame very well, because when do they have time to process stuff? Like, they must keep this machine of fame or this machine of success going because it's what feeds them. It's what makes them their money. So it's like the little times that they do kind of get to themselves, they may not be spending it the best time. This character, Mac Miller, in this album is not spending his time the best way. And you know that Mac in real life isn't. Because the latter part of this song, which is my favorite song probably on the album, which is called Godspeed. This particular part of the album starts off with Mac Miller's brother leaving a voicemail about not really seeing him on a holiday, and just kind of saying, hey man, hope I see you soon, Godspeed. And in this part of the song, I think I resonate with Mac Miller the most because he is as vulnerable as any part of the album, specifically on this song. It's honestly, listening to it today, it's very sad listening to this song. So in this song, Mac is kind of alluring to the fact that money isn't changing everything like he thought it would. And me personally, this really makes sense. To me, this poses the question, when do you stop putting your hope in money? When do you really like have enough money, or even put that much hope in money that money can really save your situation? Like, me personally, I think money, like, well, first of all, when people say money can't make happiness, whoever made that is a liar. All right. I know a lot of happiness could come right now if I had a lot of money, whether that's traveling the world, copping some Louis V from that new Tyler and Pharrell LV drop. Like, there's a lot of things in life that money could change. But I think once you get to a certain part of your life, you really have to ask yourself, all right, what am I basing my happiness on? You know, like, when do I have enough money? And I think what really is scary about this realization that Mac is having is he's talking about in this song, like, he just thought him and his friends would just be chilling and life would be good. But now he's noticing that he has problems. Like, he struggles with drug usage and everything isn't what it seems to be. It's kind of like as if his dreams shattered in front of him. And so he's very vulnerable on this song, talking about like his experience with this money and this newfound life. And one of the quotes in this song that he says that really sticks out to me is, every devil don't got horns and every hero doesn't have capes. And to me, that just pans back to the life is not what it seems. Everybody who you think is for you may not be for you, and everybody who you think is out to get you may have your best intentions. So I really look at that, and it kind of lets me look out over my life and see how can I apply this to my life. And I think that's so true. I think there's definitely been times in my life where I thought people around me had my best intentions. You know, there's some times where you're just chilling, bro, and there's sometimes you have your close circle and you never know like who may be the Judas in your circle. I'm not saying that like I'm trying to like out nobody. I'm not even throwing shade at nobody specifically, but I'm just really saying like there's been time, because there can be people in your life who may not intentionally try to do you dirty. They might not intentionally try to do you wrong. But that just means you need to be more aware of people's intentions around you, because what you may think somebody having friendly intentions, bro, that may not be the case. They can be so involved in their own life that, you know, their own chaos can kind of ricochet into your life. Now your life chaotic because you wasn't aware that everybody around you didn't have your best intentions. So for me, I kind of just took that little nugget and I just kind of just applied it to my life and really have to look around here and be like, yo, bro, who really has my best intentions? I think everyone needs to ask that question. Who do you know in your life that has your best intentions? But also, don't be so fixated on the people that you have. Like like one of the dumbest phrases I think someone could say is no new friends. Like, no, bro, you need new friends. You need to be careful who you have around you, but you need new friends. Like, there's definitely so much more you can get out of life by inviting certain people into your life. You know, there's no such thing. Me personally, like even my close friends today, like we've all started from like as one friend group inviting like other friend groups, and then now we just become this like bigger combination of like bigger friend groups. And one thing that I can say, bro, my friends that I have in my life, I love to death and I hold dearly to my heart, but I never would have had it if I would have had that mentality of no new friends and being like, oh, this is all I got. Now, I do think there's a point where you can have too many friends. You got to learn who to watch and, you know, who to keep close and who not. But ultimately, definitely like be open to friendships and things like that, because you never know how people can infect your life for the better. Like, at least that's my thing. Also, this song is so eerie because Mac Miller alludes to his own death without even knowing. He talks about him knowing that he needs rehab. And he's just worried that someone will call his mom saying that, like, you know, how he overdosed and she would do anything to have him back. But then he goes on throughout the song saying that these white lines is the only thing numbing these dark times. And it's like he's been saying this on the song. He's been foreshadowing his death, which was an overdose. And it's just something completely eerie about it when you listen to it. It just really made me kind of reflect in my life and really think, like, what are some of the vices I may have in my life that may be hurting me? Oh, boy, that's that hurt. Like that's real. Like that's real. I personally know what vices I may have. We all have like habits that are bad habits that we joke about, but ultimately it could lead to our own downfall. You know, it may not be as serious as drug use, but there's definitely times you have to sit here and look at it and be like, yo, how you spending your time? There's times where I do stuff and I'm like, bro, I could have spent my time better than this. I could have spent my time writing a podcast episode. If you think this episode is bad, maybe I could have spent more time writing this episode. Like, there's just so many things that I could have done that, you know, I didn't do because my time spent is elsewhere. It's crazy how good art will make you start reflecting things in yourself or make you feel things in yourself. And I'm very appreciative that Mac was vulnerable and was honest because I feel like it gives me a vehicle to do the same. I feel like it allows me to highlight some areas in my life that may not be perfect. And it's like, I'm not saying that this was the cause of his demise ultimately, but I'm saying that we really need to listen to what these artists are saying on the song. Because I feel like there's nuggets, there's good stuff that we can apply to our life or really cause us to really self-reflect about our own life so we won't end up in certain situations that they've been through. You know, I'm not saying the music is amazing. And we can enjoy it for its musical qualities, but there's definitely things that we have to learn to not reenact. There's definitely things that we need to listen to it, and it's a cry for help. This man is literally talking about, what if I overdose? And what if I continue to just do these drugs, but these drugs are the only thing that makes me happy? Like, this is scary. And we go to these concerts and we go to these things and we're like, yeah, bro, because the music is fire. But we should be like, yeah, bro, but are you good? Are you straight? Like, I feel bad for you, bro, low key, you know, but make sure you drop though. Make sure you drop on Spotify. Make sure you drop on Apple Music. I need that. I need it. Which, I mean, some artists, I do need it, you know, but I think we just need to learn to respect artists and really respect their space and respect their mental health. I think that they definitely need, you know, time to recover. Like, these are people. And I think that fame and everything separates people. Like, I think it separates the idea. Like, there's people in my head personally that are like characters. Drake like a character, Mac Miller like these are people that we don't really think is real people. We think of them as characters. But no, they're real people. And I don't think we really appreciated Mac until he like left. And it's really scary that we can have somebody that talented, but also that hurt and that broken, like literally crying out to us in songs. And we're like, yeah, bro, this is fire, bro. This is lit. Like, it's very sad. And as he continues on this song, he leaves a little nugget for his friends at the end. He leaves a message to his friends at the end saying that, like, you know, this is a love letter to my brothers. You're my brothers forever. And then, you know, even like the girl that he's talking to one day, hoping. So he's very optimistic of what life will be for him, you know, hoping that him and his friends will just continue their long friendship, hoping that one day his current girlfriend, that he put a baby in her and make her a mother, like these are his ambitions. So it's like we all have intentions of overcoming dark things, right? Like this was his intentions before, you know, the drugs ultimately took his life. I don't want to say it like that. Like that sounds very harsh, but I mean, that's what happened. And I think that we think we have more time than we may have. So really, for me, listening to that part, it was like, appreciate your friends, but, you know, don't be so engulfed in what you have going on that you're not taking time to appreciate the people around you. I preach that message so many times on this like platform, on my podcast, of like really understanding people and really like spending time with the people that you have near you, dog. Like, make sure you're doing that. And I'm at fault, bro. I think these days I do not communicate the best. You know, I'll be the first to send a message, but when it comes to holding conversation sometime, I suck, you know, and it's not personal. Sometimes I'm just not in the space to sit here and just have a long conversation over the phone, you know. Sometimes, you know, it needs to be a phone call or something like that. Like a text just simply won't do. But there's definitely times in my life where I'm like, dang, bro, I need to spend more time with my mom, you know? My brother lives in like Louisiana. Like I need to spend more time with my brother. Like, you know, we take people for granted, and we also take things for granted. And you know, we're on borrowed time. Like everything isn't promised to us. So that means the same with our bad habits. It's like we just need to learn to kind of get over some bad habits that can lead to our downfall, because if we don't, we may run out of time. Which leads me to the last song I'll be talking about, which is Ascension, which sounds so like the cherry on top. And in this song, Mac Miller really questions life. What is life? What is heaven? What is hell? He envisioned a perfect life, but never death. You know, we don't know what death is like. We have religion. You know, I certainly believe in the afterlife, but none of us humans, as a fact, like no human be like, here, this is what's gonna happen. And I think this is very prominent in this song that Mac Miller's talking about. Like he know what he envisioned his life to be through TV, but he doesn't know what death is like, because face it, we don't know what death is like. So in this song, it's kind of like a cry for help for him. He's kind of talking about like, I wish I had a religion to follow. And he's also just kind of like getting used to just doing things the way he's doing. You know, there's kind of like a sense of like, I need help, but I'm gonna keep on doing what I've been doing, because till something magically changes me, this is what's fixing me right now. And it's like religion for him kind of gives him a window of what the afterlife could look like. So he's like, I need a religion to follow. But there's also a little pessimistic part about this part, because he seems a little doubtful about what life can be like after this. And it makes sense. When we look at this character, or we look at Mac Miller's life within the context of this album, wow, that sounded so smart. But we listen to that context, when we listen to this character within the context of this album, the life that he thought he wanted, you know, with the girls, the cars, and the money, and then now coming to the realization that he, you know, achieved these things, but it still didn't make his life easier. If anything, it could have made it harder. Like, yes, it's fun to flex on people. It's fun to talk about the women and the cars, but at the end of the day, it just doesn't seem to make him happy or really fill him up. Like, this was something he really thought chasing would bring him happiness. He thought it would bring him peace in life, and that it would bring his family and everybody together, but it seemed to be doing something different. So it's like, with all of that in mind, if someone comes along telling him about what this afterlife could be like or anything like that, this character is very doubtful about that, because he's like, I've seen what they've shown on the platter for me in this current life. Like what is it like in this past life? So he's just kind of searching for the meaning of life, which is very hard to navigate. You know, I know, you know, with my own beliefs, you know, being a Christian, I know what I deem what life is about. But I'm not gonna lie and say there's not days where you have to sit here and be like, yo, like you get kind of existential. Like all of us want to be remembered. I want to be remembered in life. I think I do things like this, and I think I want to create art, and I think that we all deep down just want to be remembered. And we choose platforms that we think will keep our memories, or we do things that we genuinely want to change people, or change people's lives. But I think ultimately we want to be remembered. I think Mac Miller has talked about on this album so many themes of wanting to be remembered when he's gone. And it's like, to me, I feel like this means that everything would be worth it to him. Everything would be worth it. All the drug abuse, all the hard times, like all of it would be worth it to him if his art or this work has changed somebody's life to go on for years. Luckily, it did, you know? And for me to talk about it in 2024 and how it has affected my life and how I view certain things, I think the memory of him would be very happy to see that his memory lives on. That's why we do the things we do. That's why we create art. That's why we create a life for our family, because we all deep down just want our memories to go on forever. And if you don't, I mean, that's on you. But like me personally, yes, like I want to create a legacy, but I also want to be remembered when I'm gone. But, the sad thing is there will be a day where, our legacy just kind of like, it kind of ends. But I don't think that should deter me or deter anybody else from still wanting to make real change. And honestly, make change while you're here. Like, I ain't gonna lie, bro. When I'm dead and gone, I don't want people to start supporting my podcast. I don't want people to start supporting me then. Love me while I'm here. Give me my flowers. Like, you should feel the same way. You should want your flowers while you're alive, but you should also make sure that you're maintaining your mentality and your like physical state. And I'm really preaching to myself because I have not gone to the gym as much this week, but you really want to make sure that you're maintaining all of those things so you could really be around to reap the benefit of your blessings. Because like, as much as we want to create art for other people, we're just creating it for ourselves to see how we navigate things. I know for me, like, although I do love acting, one of the goals in my life is just to be revered by other people in my field. And I think everybody can relate to that. And I don't think it's wrong to kind of want those certain accolades. I wouldn't base my happiness or my whatever solely on the opinion of other people. But the opinion of other people matters, and we just really have to sit here and stop acting like it doesn't. Like, it doesn't to a certain extent, but overall, people's opinions matter. I think that's why artists like Mac and just music artists in general decide to share some of the most vulnerable parts of them, because that's all they can really do. While going through this, I feel like he's kind of like, bro, I'm going through hell in my life, but this is the only way that I can really find peace in all of this, by creating this art and just submitting it to the masses, hoping that just somebody resonates with me, just hoping that someone can really understand what I got going on and what I'm going through. I think every artist wants that and yearns for that. I think every person, it goes beyond just being an artist. So overall, that is why I picked this album, because it's so dark and it's so beautiful. And I think even this little like time of me talking about it doesn't do it any justice. You need to really go and listen to it and really kind of dive in and listen to the lyrics and kind of just notice some of the things that I've talked about. Notice some of those themes of fame and money and heartbreak in this album, and really just kind of like use it as a magnifying glass on your own life and kind of see, dang, what areas of my life do I need to clean up? I certainly got a long list that I'm not finna air out on this podcast, but really just look at it. And I think that's how we could turn, this art that is kind of dark, but very beautiful. But that's the positive side of it, we're able to explore things through Mac's vision and his mind, although it was so much turmoil, but we don't have to do it ourselves, So really do that. I appreciate you for watching this episode and for staying with me as this podcast continues to grow and I continue to have guests on. Really thank you, because I'm learning as I go. And, thank you for being lenient with the consistency or the inconsistency, better yet, of this. And I just really want to thank you for watching. This is a beautiful thing that we get to do, you and I. So thank you for watching. And thank you for sharing. Have a good day. Chris out.